received a lot of questions about Cambly Kids and Cambly, the format of their lessons, just some extension questions. So I thought that I would just jump on here to help you through that process. There's been a lot of changes in the online ESL world as far as which companies still exist. And if you're not familiar with what's going on in 2021 as we're filming this, I want to encourage you to check out this video above to kind of be brought up to date as to what is happening to some of the major players in the online ESL community as far as the companies that would hire us as an independent contractor. So all of those changes that I've talked about in the previous videos have led to people scrambling to find other places to work online and a lot of questions about Cambly Kids. But first, if this is your first time here, my name is Celeste. Hi, welcome to my channel. I love to talk about my life as a wife, entrepreneur, that's a wifepreneur, and today we're going to talk about the wifepreneur part of me that teaches online. We're going to talk about Cambly Kids, so I hope that you will subscribe, like, and click that notification bell so that you are notified of other videos that I upload. Before we hop over to that platform, if you're hearing like a lot of noises like edgers, mowers, those are all my neighbors out. We've had 3 days of torrential rain where I live. So we've had a little bit of warm, sunny days, or sunny hours, I should say, today. And so they've gotten home and they're quickly trying to get the lawns mowed to a reasonable length before we all live in the jungle here. So that's what that noise is going on in the background. So let's hop over to Cambly. I'm going to answer some questions about the platform, knowing where a student is to know what lesson to work on and prepare for, especially for that first few times, and then what happens when you only have 8 or 9 slides in your lesson. What do you do with the remainder of the time? Because every lesson for Cambly Kids is 30 minutes. So let's hop over there and I'll answer some of those questions. Okay, so here we are on the Cambly platform. I already have at the very top of the page some extensions already bookmarked. I'll show those to you in a minute, but I wanted to go through this particular part of Cambly in case you are becoming a new tutor for Cambly Kids or you're wondering how this all works. I wanted to do a brief tutorial before we jump into our extensions. So as you can see, this particular student has completed 97 lessons within Secondary B. Now I'm not going to scroll up because it does give her name, her country, and personal information that her parent has shared with her, as well as information that I have put in. What I do is I write a note after every tutoring session so that I can keep track of what we've covered in the past and maybe some questions to ask her or another student in the next particular tutoring session. So today, this morning, we completed number 97. And so what I did prior to class is that I clicked on that, and I'm going to do 97 because I'm already familiar with it rather than going into her next lesson that we will have tomorrow. So we can always preview the slides prior to class. Now when you're in the actual platform with the student, you will see these slides numbered, and I will put that picture here so that you can see what that is. And what I do prior to class is I go through and look through every slide I should say, and see whether or not we're going to talk about that. There are some things that she's already very familiar with, and if we go over it again, she's going to lose attention. She loses attention very quickly. I already know that about her, and so we may skip that particular slide, and I'll write that down on an index card and place it beside my laptop so that I'll remember when I have the class with her. So I'll go through and preview each of these. Today we talked about directions. I planned for her to tell me directions of how to get from her bedroom to her living room, from her living room to the kitchen, as if I've never been in her home. And it was a great way to review, to walk down the hallway, turn left, turn right, etc. But as you can see, this particular lesson is very short. She is a great reader as well as a great communicator. So we really whiz through this lesson very, very quickly. So what I do is I have 3 bookmarks up above, and I will link all of these links in the description box below. One of my favorites is that, like today, we did not have a book to read. We were just kind of doing rote type of sentence. I say, you say type of activities. So I wanted to have her read to practice her fluency. So I go to a website called bookspring.org. It's a free online resource. And as you can see, it has many categories of books. And so this up here at the top, the new and favorite, they're adding new books all the time. What I try to do is I try to pick a book that closely aligns to what we are talking about in class. Now, as we're scrolling through this, you can see that none of them really have a lot to do with directions, except for this one, Way to Go. So I clicked on that. It will bring you to the cover page. Now in Cambly, there is a screen sharing option, and you will click that section, and then you will click the tab of the actual website that you're wanting to share. And so when it comes up, the student, if they're not using a phone or an iPad or a tablet, they should be able to see this particular cover. So with her, we reviewed the title of the book, what is it, and what the author's name was. And as we went through, I had her read it. We discussed every question. We talked about new words like engineer. What is an engineer? We remembered that we needed to have a little bit of a voice inflection when we do questions and reading questions. We've had a lot of lessons about hot air balloons, so we did a little review on what she already remembered about hot air balloons. We talked about ships, making sure we enunciate that P really well. Did she see a lot of ships near her home? And it was a great way to continue the conversation about directions. Are they going up the hill? Or are they going down the hill? What does a bulldozer do, etc. So we went through all of that. We still had time left, so we always play a game. Now there are two different kinds of games that I play. One is an online spinner from superteachertools.us. I like this because you can fill in what you want for each of these areas. And so it lands on this one. Sometimes this is hard to read for my students, but I'll read it out loud. Now for my beginning students, I will put very basic types of sentences on here, like touching their head, their nose. Can they find a toy in their house? Can they find a triangle? It's a great way to review vocabulary words that we've already talked about. And you just click on it. It lands, and then, hey, what is your favorite vegetable? And we'll kind of review, because sometimes we'll say apples or bananas, and we'll say, oh, that's a fruit. What's your favorite vegetable? Onions, potatoes, tomatoes. And they'll tell me what that is, and sometimes they'll even go and get it and show me what they're about to eat for dinner or for lunch. So my students really like this. I kind of alternate this with other games that we play. Another game that we play is Hangman. This is from englishclub.com. And as you can see, there are many categories that you can select. If it's a new student, I will try to select a category that closely fits to what we're talking about. However, with this particular student, I've had her for over a year now, and she likes to pick her category, and she really loves the animals category because she's learning how to ride horses now. So it has easy, medium, and difficult. So when you click on easy, there are 5 puzzles in each level. And this is a great way to review our letter names and sounds. She always has trouble with the H name. She'll say hatch rather than H. So we'll say that over and over again. We've also now bumped up a level, and we'll say, what are the vowels? Let's pick the vowels that you think are in the word first, and then we'll go back to the consonants. And this is this fun way, so we'll let her do all of her vowels first. She likes to do that. Okay, well, we're only have 2 more guesses before we are out. So this usually helps her. She'll pick the S, the H, and then she picked the P today, and we'll have her read that word again. We'll talk about it, and does she see any sheep in her village? Goes to the next game, etc. So these are 3 extensions that I use for my very short lessons in Cambly. You can also use this with any student. I have them available for my new students in case maybe they're in the wrong level and they need some more challenging work, especially with reading the books. This will be a great way to review fluency, and my parents really appreciate us having a book to read when there's not a book within the curriculum. So I hope that these 3 ideas are helpful to you. Again, if you're interested in becoming a Cambly tutor or a teacher on my other 2 platforms, I hope that you will reach out by using the links below in the description box. And until next time, happy teaching.